SEC, 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 SEC. Y'all so stupid. Why are y'all so stupid?
Good morning. Welcome. Armchair Quarterbacks, Gators and Golf with Tony Agolini. Tony, how the hell are you this morning, sir?
Doing great. How are you?
Let me turn that music down. That's pretty loud. I'm doing great. Try to get a better intro music for you, and I can't find this one file. But anyways, we'll get it found by next week.
I can tell you anything's better than Joe Carter's home run.
Well, that's buying time waiting for you to show up is what that is.
that was my punishment. I had to listen to that. So since you'll enjoy this, there's a guy in my office, and he's not as old as me, and we were talking Braves Blue Jays, and I was like, yeah, as soon as I saw that matchup, I couldn't help but think of that disaster in '93, and
right
then I realized he hadn't been born yet and kind of had no idea. He knew the story but really didn't know the pain, so kind of I guess like Lindsey Scott.
Yeah.
Cognizant.
We've got quite a few on the show where I always have to, as I'm in the middle of saying something, I'm like, wait a minute, do you even remember that?
Right.
Joey's, I would say I think he's late 20s. And then we got the newcomer, Bobby, the big Arizona Cardinal and Florida Gator fan. And he's graduating high school this year. So when we were talking about TEBOW the other day, I had to ask him, wait a minute, do you even remember TEBOW playing at Florida? And it was like the beginning of his fandom. I think it's essentially why he became such a big Gator fan. And we did the math, and he was like, to me, he's 6 or 7. I was like, man, I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised you even remember it. 6, 7 years old. A lot of kids don't even get into football, like actually knowing what the hell is going on till like 10 or 11 years old. I was one of those weird ones too, around 6 years old. I knew exactly who guys like Greg Allen were, and Kelly Lowry, and all the rest. I guess to be 6 years old, it would have to be Jimmy Jordan was the quarterback back then. But anyways, the Florida Gators inching closer to the SEC tournament. Now I saw that the women's tournament was on yesterday for the SEC and the ACC. And by the way, how is Florida's softball team doing? Because I have not paid attention to that this year. I've tried to pay attention to Florida State, but
I don't watch. I know what they're doing, but I don't. Softball's a tough watch for me for whatever reason until they either get to the Supers or to Omaha, and I think it's just because I watch so much baseball, I kind of zone out after that. But they're good. It's not like an elite Florida team. It's not a bulldozer of a team like they've had before, but they've got timely hitting. I think I did see the highlights last night on local news that they hit a couple home runs to kind of break things open. But yeah, they've kind of relied on last inning heroics the last week or two. But yeah, they're good. They're not it's not a powerhouse team this year, I don't think, but they'll host a regional and then maybe host a super regional.
So
I have no idea who they play today.
I do know one thing: the Florida State Seminole ladies soccer team's heading to the national title game. I actually watched that whole thing, and I don't really like how they got there. I'll take it, but they won on penalty kicks, and I'm a little surprised that when you get to the Final Four, you're not just playing till somebody wins, as opposed to going to penalty kicks. To me, like that's the equivalent of winning a basketball game on free throws. And so I just, I'm glad that they won. Don't get me wrong, and Virginia would look terrible during the penalty kicks. They were just somehow the FSU goalie was predicting every damn thing that they were doing. And you know how normally these penalty kicks, you pretty much have to pre-dive and just hope. And she blocked every single one. Florida State women won it in 3 penalty kicks. It's a best of 5, and they hit all 3 of theirs, and Virginia missed all 3 of theirs. So they march on. Monday night is the national title game. I want to say it's 5:30 because I think the men's is playing right after that, which I don't.
Who are they playing?
They were playing the winner of North Carolina and Santa Clara. I went to bed before I saw it. So North Carolina was ranked second in the country. Santa Clara is 11th. So and I'll tell you this, I think I want to play Santa Clara regardless, because just like Virginia, they've seen Florida State so much, they knew them, and Florida State could not get any penetration, any shots on goal. I honestly felt like Virginia dominated that game, but their goalie played really well and their defense stepped up. There was a really close goal that almost happened very early on in the game where the ball hit the crossbar and bounced, and had it just gone just an inch over because the goalie was standing about 3 feet away from it, so she had no chance of actually knocking it down. If it would have bounced just a foot or so, it would have been considered a goal, but it bounced, and the way it bounced, it just bounced back out. Lucky as hell. And then there was a couple other shots on goal that Virginia had. They had one girl that just absolutely phenomenal. I never caught her name because I was working while I was doing it, so I couldn't hear the game, but I was watching it. It was an incredible game. But yeah, they go to the national title game on a Monday night. I guess the men are playing all weekend. It's all being played up in Cary, North Carolina. So there's that. But to move on to college baseball, who do the Gators have on deck this weekend?
Florida will host Georgia this weekend. Just real quick for softball, Florida does play Missouri today. That's I believe Missouri is pretty good. And then Tennessee, Alabama, and they just played recently. So there's your final four for SEC softball. Baseball, Florida, Georgia this weekend. It's funny. Tennessee is wide open as far as attendance goes this weekend. They host Arkansas. That's the series of the weekend, really, in the SEC. That's going to be a blast, especially Tennessee was able to do so much, like crowd-wise, with such a small crowd against us and Vanderbilt and some other teams that I can't wait to see what that place is going to be like this weekend with Arkansas coming to town in a full house. So that should be a lot of fun.
Santa Clara did beat North Carolina.
Okay.
Which is considered quite the upset. It's funny, whoever made their Twitter picture doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They use the USC logo, the SC, and it's the USC logo. SC faces Florida State.
The only thing I know about Santa Clara is that Steve Nash went there, and that's all I know. So.
And the girl that I'm looking at right now that they have on Florida State as the one Florida State player compared to Santa Clara player, I know for a fact that girl's injured. Oh, they really screwed the food across the board. Awesome. Anyways, let's go looking at the games this weekend. I want to start with the SEC first, obviously. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I have to scroll down here because I had everything set up pre-show, and then when I got one of these stupid clickers that doesn't respond after so many minutes, right? And you have to click it. And when I clicked it, I closed out my damn window. Like the cursor just happened to be there. I always have all these windows set up so I can just bounce back and forth. I go, you've got to be kidding me. And we had just started to go live on YouTube. But anyways.
Well, I've got it up if you want it.
Yeah, I see it now. Florida, Georgia, 6:30. Is that going to be on? I'm assuming it's going to be streaming on the Plus, right?
Yeah, I don't know if any of these games are actually on network. But because
I do see Vanderbilt Ole Miss is going to be SEC Network.
Yeah, which it should be Rock and Roll Throw tonight. I think Vanderbilt's actually sitting lighter again. We're starting to see some pitchers getting shut down. I think for lighter, it's just some arm fatigue. Maybe they should have had him throw 140 pitches against Trevecca or whoever they were playing in preseason. But yeah, Leiter's I think Leiter's a scratch tomorrow night. Rocker will go tonight. But I think for Florida, Georgia, I think it's 6:30, and I think noon. I think noon might be Sunday's game. I think is on SEC Network. Big series for us, obviously. Georgia. I don't think Georgia's going to make a regional. Georgia's had a rash of injuries this year too. They've lost a bunch of pitchers. They've got 3 freshmen starting all weekend. Webb is their best pitcher and best prospect, and they announced on Tuesday that he's got some elbow issues, and they're not going to take any chances for him for the rest of the year. And I think he's done at Georgia because he's their top pitching prospect, and he's going to be a pretty good draft pick there. He was their Friday guy, had some injuries, moved to Sunday just to kind of give him a few days to recover, and now he's just done. So that's a tough break for them. Maybe good for us, obviously, but yeah, I was hoping for a 3-game sweep over Kentucky. We did get 2 out of 3. We kind of blew Friday night's game, but we're as good as anybody if we can play clean baseball. But you have 3 or 4 errors in a game and they're not timely, then anybody can beat you. So just have to avoid that this weekend against Georgia.
Number 1, Arkansas is at number 4, Tennessee. That is kind of like the series of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that that's not the SEC network, but I guess they're wanting to focus on Rocker. I would guess at least one of those games, maybe Saturday's game, will be on the SEC network for the folks who don't have the Plus. That's a series that I'm really, because I just figure Florida's going to sweep Georgia. Georgia hasn't been that good. And number 25, South Carolina's got a tough test going to Kentucky.
Yeah, that's a big series for Carolina. They really haven't played well the last month or so. They've been struggling.
And they've sunk because every week when we do this, I look at the standings. I keep seeing South Carolina going down. Yeah. I'm like, something's not right there.
Yeah, they've really. I think it's just they swept us early in the year. Other than that, we were the only tough team they played for like the first month of the season, and they did really well against us. After that, the schedule got tougher, and I think their record since then kind of reflects that.
We got Florida State. They are. I want to say that game is at 6:30 or is it 7:00 today? 6. That Florida State Clemson is going to be on ACC Network. Clemson not ranked. Florida State lost Wednesday to freaking Florida Gulf Coast, which I know they weren't throwing their best pitcher, but you just right about the time they get some momentum, they do stuff like that. It's kind of like watching the Braves all year long. You see them get on a winning streak, and a losing streak's right around the corner. Louisville and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is the one that surprises me the most. That Pittsburgh is ranked 16th in the country right now. And Florida State had a hell of a series with them, lost 2 out of 3. And at the time, I thought we were losing to a bad team. Now it appears that Pittsburgh's actually a really good baseball team. But it's weird because I don't ever recall Pittsburgh being any kind of a powerhouse in baseball. Do you?
No, they never have been. And it's a pretty neat story. I know D1 Baseball has done some profiles on them throughout the year. And yeah, it's like it's the team that's never been good at baseball all of a sudden has this loaded team. And it's part of this weird year with COVID canceling last year that, to me, college baseball is more stacked than ever this year because you had so many guys that could have left last year come back. And when you have a team like Pitt, it gives them a chance, gives them some depth. And they're if you can find 3 really good pitchers to pitch on the weekend, you got a chance against anybody.
Right. Before we switch gears to the JAGS, any last thoughts on the college baseball? I'm interested to see. I doubt it's going to be on TV this weekend, but I'm interested to see how good Indiana really is. I start seeing them climb up, and they're getting big W's all year long.
Big Ten's always weird for baseball. Michigan made it to the finals a few years ago against Vanderbilt. They're good again this year too.
Yeah, they knocked us out.
Yeah, Indiana's has been a consistently okay program. They're one that makes a regional most years, but other than that, everybody else in the Big Ten is just okay. Nebraska's in there obviously, and they're usually okay. But Big Ten's kind of a crapshoot for baseball. There's like 3 programs that really care, and that's about it. They were supposed to actually announce the regional sites this week and never did. So I guess they're going to do it next week. They were supposed
next week is the final weekend, right? And then we get the conference tournaments on Labor Day week, right? I'm sorry, but Memorial Day.
Next weekend's the last one, and then for SEC starts I think that Tuesday. And every series of the weekend next weekend is Tuesday or Thursday through Saturday. And
so I'm guessing that the women's softball's tournament's going to start next week since their conference tournaments are going on right now.
Right. Yeah, their regionals go next weekend.
Which is good because they'll get to their World Series long before the I guess it'll be the weekend of the regionals for the
right.
and not the super regionals, which will be good. And by the time they get it done, they'll get out of the way for the college baseball, because I hate to see the two of them compete against each other for fans and viewership.
Yeah, they don't overlap at all.
Right. They don't do the NBA NHL thing. You're gonna play at 3:05 and we're gonna play at 3:10, and so it'll be fine. Going over to the Jaguars, and this team schedules are out. The NFL schedule is out. They're heading back to London, which, why in God's name they're putting the Miami Dolphin Jaguar game in London? Two teams from the same state in a year where you're bringing back fans to the stands would have been a perfect opportunity for Jacksonville to not only sell the place out, but also you'd have Tua versus Trevor, the whole 9 yards, and they put the damn thing in London.
I'm with you there. I was saying the other day, like all the positive momentum from having Trevor Lawrence, and we think we had a good draft and a fresh start and Coach Meyer and all that stuff, and then I guess they're going to eventually pull the TEBOW stunt, and then you're going to ship the two teams that are 4 hours away to London to go play. And the London game, I always, the last few years, I'm tired of it, obviously. Like, I'd rather have the game here. I don't have season tickets, so I don't feel like ripped off in that way. But, it's still a home game that the fans should get to enjoy, and they ship one off. And, if I had season tickets, like, that's the Dolphin game's the marquee one. There's always a bunch of Dolphin fans there. I've got Dolphin friends, obviously. And, it's a fun atmosphere. It's as close to a rivalry game, really, as you can have. If you're Jacksonville, they try to make the Titans game a rivalry here. I think it is for Jacksonville, but it's not for Tennessee.
Well,
I mean, I've always thought just ship a divisional game over there. Maybe you lose your home field advantage or whatever. But I'd rather, if you're going to see a new opponent, I'd rather see him here than watch him on TV in London.
Put the Texans game over there, but
yeah, exactly.
I guess they don't want to put Dr. Rapey over in London, so they're worried about that kind of fiasco. But there's got to be
when the Jaguars first started, like if it was the Green Bay game, and like I think it was either the first or second year we had Brett Favre here, and the game was awesome. I think it even went to overtime. It was like a Sunday night or Monday night game. There's a Monday night game back then, and like I would have been pissed if they sent that Green Bay game where my one chance to see Brett Favre in person, they ship it to London. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree with you. Make it a divisional game, because, like you said, you don't always get a chance to see some of these players. And if you're a season ticket holder of the Jacksonville Jaguars and have been through the thick and thin, you'd probably like to be able to sit in the stands and watch Tua versus Trevor, right? I mean, there's a lot of electricity. I actually would have probably made that. Jacksonville never gets to get on the night games, and I know that they've got them in on a Thursday night game, because I think that's contractually obligated where everyone gets to. I think I would have put that Tua versus Trevor on a Monday night game.
Mm-hmm.
Do it early in the season so the Jaguar season isn't over, right?
Right.
But make that a Monday night game. Make that the second week of the season or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. It just doesn't seem. It seems really strange. Why not put the Falcons game over there? Who the hell cares about watching the Falcons? I feel like, even though they're separate conferences, I feel like they play them every other year. It's weird how often they pop up on the schedule. But anyways, moving on from that, other games that by the way, the Falcons and Jets are going over there too on London. I think they're the week before. So
they're playing at Tottenham instead of Wembley, which is different.
Yeah, they did that last time they played at the Tottenham Hotspurs, because they have a brand new stadium. I guess it's state of the art. I follow their soccer team, but not religiously. Like, if EPL is on, I see Tottenham on, I'll flip over there. But I don't, I don't like riot the stadium because I don't like the Glazers kind of fandom.
They seem to have had a dip in popularity over there the last few weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
As they tried to burn down the stadium the other day. But yeah, to wrap it up, I like the Jaguars schedule. I think it's like week 5 before you see a playoff game. It's as easy as it can get if you're the Jaguars. Problem is, the Jaguars are probably still not going to
I
be that
love the
great.
Thursday night NFL Network game, by the way, the Bengals,
Yeah.
because that's what you want. You want Trevor versus Joe Burrow. Hopefully Burrow's back and healthy and everything. That should be fun. The Arizona game on week 3, it should be a lot of fun. You've got Kyler Murray coming in here, so at least we didn't get that stolen from us. But yeah, I'm with you. They need to put divisional games over there. And I know they're probably, we don't always put divisional games, give unfair advantage, blah, 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 blah. But no one cares about Jags versus Texans in week 15. Why not move that around to, in October, right?
Yeah. Send that dumb Jets game over there.
Yeah, or that. I mean, if you really want to put, if they really wanted to put the league on that kind of stage, you could have had Zach Wilson versus Trevor Lawrence, and by week 16, well, I guess you'd have to move it around, so it would be somewhere in the middle of October. But by that time, both quarterbacks should be starting it and got their feet underneath them.
That game might be for the first round pick next year.
Yeah, exactly. We've only got a few minutes left, so
although when I looked at that schedule, I did have 6 and 11, I think, for next year. 5 and 12 at the worst. 6 and 11, I think.
Yeah, I haven't even started on my predictions on that. I guess we'll start doing that soon. I just had to absorb it all because doing all these shows, trying to cover everyone's team.
You're looking at everybody.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at everybody. I'm also looking at the national, and then I start, then my mind starts working as far as what fantasy football player has an advantage in these, right? Yeah. So, before we have to jump off here and start the Armchair Quarterbacks Live with Justin Waller, the PGA's next week, correct?
It is, yeah. They're in Dallas this week. Good leaderboard. Justin Spieth had a big day yesterday. He's tied for the lead. That course will get harder today, tomorrow, and Sunday. The winds are going to pick up. Yesterday was a lot like it was here yesterday, where there was absolutely no wind and great weather. So that course will play tougher. I sat here Friday after Rory played terrible on Thursday and told everyone not to pick him for Kiowa. And then over the course of 3 days, he looks like an entirely different golfer and blew the field away minus a screw up on the last hole. But that was awesome the other day to see Rory back winning. Maybe he does have it together again, just in time for Kiowa. So who knows? But yeah, if you get a chance Sunday, it should be a good leaderboard. John Rahm's playing. There's a bunch of big names. A lot of the guys live in Texas, so they're all playing in this one, and then they'll go to Kiowa next weekend, which will be a blast.
All right, brother. What's your walk-off for the day?
And just looking forward to a great weekend. It's going to be awesome weather. I'm playing in a little charity golf tournament and going to watch college baseball and goof off all weekend. So it should be a good time.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be really good weather. It was supposed to be warmer. I keep wanting to warm up so I can get my damn pool. Every time I'm like, all right, we get some warm days. And I walk outside yesterday and you need a parka on. I'm like, everything.
Yeah, don't worry, it'll be 95 before you know it. So
it needs to be 95 by the time Memorial Day, because we're having a big party over here and it's a pool party. So not having access to the pool is going to be a bitch.
You got to, when it's Speedo Memorial Day, you got to get that pool ready. So.
Yeah, exactly. I told my wife I was going out and getting a Speedo that, we're going exact opposite from last year, with the COVID hair. And she's like, I want to keep my friends. Please don't do that.
There you go. All right, boys. Have a good weekend.
All right, brother. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks, flipping over to the same channel. We're just restarting a new one on the Armchair Quarterbacks Live.